Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening stream. I can see there's quite a few people in chat already to go, already excited ahead of the kickoff of our first major game jam we're doing in Crayta. So obviously we had the build jam go out kind of a couple of weeks ago. So we're straight in again with another huge prize pool of another $50,000 as the main prize pool for our next big event, our big game jam, our big Neon Coast game jam. So what we're going to do this evening is we're going to jump across and we're essentially going to announce a theme in a few minutes time, and we will then spend the rest of the stream kind of kickstarting our own submission, maybe spend a bit of time on my own game, and then we'll go from there. So I see a few of you are ready to jump in and yeah, basically start building straight away, which is pretty cool. So I guess we'll go through a few of the little bits first. So we obviously have similar sort of prizes as we do before. So we've got our first, second, and third place. We've also got a bunch of category-based prizes that people can win, as well as our sort of honourable mentions. So it's going to be sort of follow a very similar format to the build jam. This time also we're going to be doing submissions through the itch page. So I think AJ or someone is on hand to get the itch page pushed out once we've announced a theme, and all the details will be on there. So I'm going to kind of give a bit of an overview, but most of the things you'll need to know are on there. So you can sign up over there and you can do all your submission through there. So the first thing that makes this a little bit different to previous game jams is this is now a 2-week game jam. So you've got plenty of time to get in, to get planning and to jump in. So obviously in the past we've done week end long ones. We've done ones that, you know, only last for 2 or 3 days. We've done some week long ones. So we're now pushing it out to 2 entire weeks. So hopefully that gives people plenty of chance to work around kind of work life, you know, home life. It's not something we're kind of expecting people to cram in outside of kind of social life and stuff. You know, having 2 whole weeks hopefully gives people enough time to really jump in, spend some decent time in Crayta, but also obviously look after yourselves and all that sort of stuff. So it'll be good. And, you know, as I say, it gives people a chance to kind of join throughout the game jam as well. So people don't actually hear about it until a week in. They still get a bit of time to jump in and do their own submissions. So let's jump into the editor or into the game around now. So this might look like a fairly familiar environment to some people. The kind of eagle-eyed amongst you will know that this is AJ's villa. So this is kind of a little bit of a clue as to what the theme might be. Okay, so thinking, you know, a nice place, Neon Coast. You know, this is our Neon Coast game jam, so we're kind of hoping people will lean into the Neon Coast assets. Obviously we can't say that you have to absolutely use them, but it would be great if people can really start thinking of ways to perhaps lean into Neon Coast. You know, this is a fantastically, you know, really on season environment that AJ put together. So it's really worth kind of perhaps thinking how you can incorporate Neon Coast into your submissions. And obviously, as always, collaboration is fine. You know, get collaborating, get working on each other, get helping each other. If you are looking for people to collaborate with, or you're here for the first time, do make sure you head over to Discord. That's discord.gg/Crayta. A really good place to keep up with the community. We'll have a dedicated channel for the game jam where people can discuss ideas. You can get a lot of help over there, so if you are stuck, and also you can get a lot of testing help. There's, you know, quite a big community with a real big groundswell at the minute. There's, you know, real kind of powerhouse of people who are there to help test, to help, you know, kind of collaborate, and also to help problem solve. So really highly recommend joining Discord if you haven't already. I can see a few people jumping through here saying Vice City theme is AJ confirmed. AJ Coast, that sounds good. That is not any of the themes. Okay, so hopefully this is a theme that is quite good. I think again, it's kind of fairly short. It's a 2-word theme, I'll give you that much. And it's essentially going to hopefully give people plenty of opportunity to really sort of take it, you know, a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different game types could be perhaps added to it. And what we'll say as well is, obviously this is a game jam, but that doesn't mean what you have to produce is strictly a game. And what we mean by game jam in Crayta is essentially building what we would call, you know, kind of a game, but that game could be an experience. It could be kind of a walkthrough. It could be a beautiful environment, essentially, with some interactable bits that people can come in and play. And so it's more than a build jam, but it's essentially, it doesn't have to strictly be, you know, a full game. It could be something that is a bit more like a hub, like a social space, with plenty of things to do, plenty of interactions, and a bit more than just building. So if that makes sense. As I say, there will be an itch page out in due course, so all the details will be over there. So okay, I think that's probably enough waffle for now. So if everybody's ready, I think it's time we reveal the Neon Coast $50,000 prize pool game jam theme, and the theme is Dream Vacation. Okay, so we think Neon Coast, we think holidays, we think kind of beautiful environments, we think the villas, that sort of thing. So the Dream Vacation is the name, or is the theme out of this build jam, game jam, sorry. Okay, so Dream Vacation, what that gives you is plenty of chance to go with things like, I don't know, some sort of, it could be a shooter in Dream Vacation, it could be a tycoon game, it could be an adventure game, it could be all sorts of different ways that you can kind of interpret that sort of theme. It could be something, Dream Vacation, it could literally be you building a social space, it could be a hub that you'll build as your dream vacation space. It could be based on a real place that you've been to that you like. It could be something that's completely out there as a dream kind of metaverse style environment. So there's a lot of different ways you can interpret this. Really hoping people like this. So I can see the chat just come through now. So oh mama, oh OMG, so many options, whoop, wow, Dream Vacation, never would have expected that. Cool. So hopefully let us know what you think about the theme. Hopefully that's the sort of theme that people can, as Seven Dose says, many options. It gives you a lot of options to sort of explore with. Isn't too kind of forcing you down one path, hopefully. So yeah, do let us know. And if you're willing to, then obviously do let us know in the chat what you think about building. Obviously don't want to give away secrets and stuff. It would be really good to hear the sorts of things that people are kind of heading over to build and what you'd like to essentially do. The theme is Dream Vacation. My mind has instantly left the station. I assume that's a good thing. Cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually, I'm going to leave the pool side, even though it is quite lovely here. I could spend all day here if I want to. I'm going to jump into Create. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a game that's based on a tycoon. So my interpretation of this was sort of like an airport simulator that is sending people to their dream vacations, their dream holiday destinations. So I'm going to try and do something along that, some sort of tycoon airport simulator with some like little kind of party game things thrown in, and we'll see how far we get through in this evening. So I'm going to call this Crayta Airline. Yeah, I'm going to go for that as the image that works for me. Love the theme. Can use a vacation after 2 years of being locked down. I mean, that's true. There's kind of a nice opportunity here to perhaps lean slightly more away from the gameplay side of things. But as I say, building these sort of social hangout spaces to have with people with some interactable elements and some stuff like that. But a chance to sort of, get yourselves a social space for your friends to sort of defeat the lockdown and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, really quite a lot of things you can do there. Obviously, the idea I've said, feel free if people are stuck for ideas, go for something similar. Getting the tycoons, getting that. Tycoons really work quite well in Crayta, so highly encourage you to don't worry. Just because I've said it doesn't mean you can't take that idea. I'm more than happy for there to be several airport simulators if you are stuck. You plan to leave on your dream vacation tomorrow, but the next Crayta Game Jam is announced and the vacation has to be postponed for an unknown period of time. Okay, so what I'm probably going to get through tonight, I imagine, will be mainly building out a bit of an airport space. Got kind of a rough mental idea, but I haven't put too much thought into this. I tried to come into these things a little bit more fair. Obviously, I do know the theme ahead of time. So I've got as far as a sort of airport-based tycoon simulator, but I haven't really got much thought as to what it's going to do other than that. But then again, obviously, my game won't compete in for prizes, so don't worry about that. Purely just for a bit of fun. Always a good exercise, a good chance to make some games. I will apologise as well if I keep kind of having to wipe my nose or blow my nose. I've got a cold that's trying to fight its way in. Okay, so we probably need a runway. We probably need a terminal. And what I'm hoping to do is maybe make use of some builder base packages. Obviously, the builder base package gave us a whole bunch of different useful packages, so some may be applicable here for your game, so do make sure you explore that side of things. I'm imagining the pathfinding robots might be quite good for me. Sort of thinking the robots are the people, well, it's the robots that we're sending on holiday. You know, the robots work pretty hard in Crayta, perhaps they need to go on holiday, so we're going to have some pathfinding robots that are working their way through these gates. So yeah, right, let's think about how we're going to build this. So probably be glass along the back. There'll be, you can see out to the runway. Maybe do with a big voxel plane or blimps. Maybe it's a blimp airway, a blimp airport, blimp port. And then in here will be sort of your classic terminal, and then perhaps each player gets a slightly bigger area than this, and it'll be their sort of departure lounge for their airline. So essentially each player is like a competing company, competing private airline essentially. So maybe if people want to shout out some interesting ideas for names. Little Creator says, so I can create a hub and have a chance. Yeah, absolutely. So what we're aiming to do is not limit this to specifically be something, you know, like the classic rules of a game. You know, it doesn't have to be a round-based system. It doesn't have to have an objective. It doesn't have to have scores, leaderboards, things like that. A social space or a sort of a hub space is perfectly valid for the game jam. What we would ask is that it's just perhaps has some level of interaction. You know, there's a few things to find, maybe players, you know, there's a few things to interact with, or there's a few interesting things that sort of make it, you know, a really good social space. It's not just a thing that's been built out. It could perhaps have just a few little bits here and there, and there's plenty of packages that should help you with that. We're not saying obviously not having those things would disqualify it, but it was perhaps the things we're going to look for when we're judging them is, if it is a social space, the more things and little toys and stuff there are for players to do, perhaps the better. KD says, what's happening? So what's happening, KD, is we've just announced the theme for our game jam, and the game is Dream Vacation. Actually, what I'll do is I'll get that up on screen so people can see that. Bear with me 1 second. But yeah, so Dream Vacation is the theme, and you've got 2 whole weeks to work on this, so it should be plenty of time. Hopefully, people can not get too sort of burned out with that. Right. So we want the theme. Dream Vacation. Yeah, that should appear at the bottom of the screen. Does that? Cool. Okay. What's the theme? I'm so confused. Don't be confused, KD. Get in the editor, build a game based on Dream Vacation. Go. Right, okay, so let's mark out a line where am I going to be. So, red. Voxel line for now. So that's going to be the back of this departure lounge space. I probably need a slightly different. Let's go the tarmac. Okay, let's rename that. Let's get into good habits early on. So rename this to our runway. Okay, so I guess perspective wise it's going to have to be much longer than this. Let's see. I'll build up some walls either side of here so we don't have to decorate too much. Oh, let's get that off. Okay, There we go. So imagining this sort of angle you'd see things. I guess I need to decorate the back, don't I? Maybe some hills or something to blend the horizon a bit. DJ says, idea for you guys. Rundown hotel on the beach where you have to be king of the hill. Equinox package. Dream vacation. So is it sort of like a war zone set in a dream location, perhaps? Silver says, can't think of a game idea. So don't panic. Say there are 2 whole weeks, so there's plenty of time. So rather than rushing into things, maybe it's a good chance to sort of kick back, think about it. Maybe try some other games. Maybe search other stores, other sort of UGC platforms. You know, go through Steam, Epic. Look for kind of holiday games. Look for simulators. Perhaps that might spur some ideas. I quite find often, you know, the best way for inspiration is to play other games and just sort of see what you might want to build. Oh man, I have many ideas already. Or maybe 7 Dose can start sort of flogging some ideas out to people. That's going to be the wall. All that. Okay, wow, big bit of this. Okay, so fill this with, I guess there'll be sort of struts. Could do glass voxels. I know we've got some big window meshes, but I don't think they're quite big. It's going to take a lot of meshes. I don't think they actually have transparency. Try it out of voxels for now. So if I make this glass. Black. Black's the best one. If you're looking for a proper transparency, I think your black glass is your best bet there. So, you know, airports do have the big glass walls. Whether all of this could be a slant, you know, you get a lot of airports with kind of interesting architecture. Probably want some metal. Excuse me. I think what I'm going to try and avoid here is getting too far into gameplay straight away, because I sort of want to let the idea formulate a bit. So what I'll probably end up doing on the stream tonight is a bit more of the world building side of it, and then I can perhaps start to add in the gameplay a little bit later. I'm imagining there's quite a few time trials you could do here. It's like a race to your dream vacation. It could be a race through an airport. Yeah, you could do some sort of airport-based obby. Might work quite nicely. Lots of beach options you can do here. Right, what am I looking for? Not silver. Would it look better if I extruded that? If I chop the glass out and set it a bit more in the middle? What I want. That, so it's sort of like it's inset. I still think that's okay. Let's rename this before we forget. Glass pane. We could also make a really bizarre game inside a dream. Could do. Lean more into the dream than the vacation. Perhaps there's some link there. What? Root? If I just glass. Okay. Nice big win. But would it be a bit like a white concrete? Spaceship, right? City Builder Airport was a game I was going to create when that time comes. Please don't break. Are you deliberately rhyming? Is that a thing that's happened? Oh, have I guessed this perfectly? Oh, I was like half a box. Okay, so then we fill this middle bit. Probably a much quicker way to have done this, but we are where we are. Okay, in case you didn't see, all my messages will rhyme, every single one, including this line. Very clever. Devin West says, what's the rules? No rules, dream vacation is the theme, create what you want. Yeah, so I guess the only rules would be things like, obviously the usual sort of stuff. So the itch page should outline all of that. We'll get the link out once it's available. But essentially, yeah, it's the usual rules around once the submission date has happened. Obviously, you need to publish before the submission date. Once that's passed, you can't update. Sorry, you can't do any more publishes. You can technically keep on working on your game in the editor only, but nothing can be published after the submission date until we've announced the winners, and then you're free to carry on updating. What else can you do? Little things, it's not really rules, but worth noting that if you are using any UI, then obviously the sooner you get that in, the sooner it can be approved, the better. So don't leave things like cover art and loading screens and images until the last day, because you're really kind of up against it potentially with missing out due to approval time, stuff like that. If you are working on that sort of stuff, the sooner you get that approved and better, the better you are. On that note, really recommend spending some time playing with some of the new options available in the editor. So through the game tab, things like the challenges, activities, leaderboards, the help text, control schemes, all that sort of stuff. I'd maybe try and carve some time out. Maybe it's one editor session. You actually don't do much gameplay, but you do dedicate it to all this sort of stuff, because these are the things that really make games stand out in Crayta. So we'll look for games. I think we'll be a little bit more impressed by games that perhaps lean into some of that sort of stuff. So I'd recommend highly getting in and adding things like loading screens, controls, and help text, because, as I say, really nice use of the features that are available. In fact, before I do that, let's be adventurous and extract this whole wall. Okay. Right, okay, so what I'm imagining, let's just rename this, is this wall sort of slightly slanted, make it a little bit more stylish. It's always nice to break out of the box, essentially get rid of that. DJ says make the cover first. That's a pretty bold move, like kind of really lock in your idea by doing your cover at the start. Okay. Right, so I want all my frames under the back wall. Okay, so I'm just gonna rotate this by sort of 15 degrees maybe. I don't know how much you'll be able to tell. I'll just create a strange effect with the glass. See how that looks. Okay, because I'm not going to really see the side, I could probably get away with overhanging like this. Looks like there's a gap there, but it's not. Whether I just want to in by a voxel there anyway. What I'm imagining I'm going to do is have this working off a fixed camera. So rather than it being an orbit camera you could look around, I kind of want the whole thing to be sat kind of from a specific camera. So you can start to make design decisions based on that, how things look and how things are laid out. These areas, there's probably leave enough space. If I make these areas sort of a little bit larger. take up a good portion of the room. Okay, so now we need to think about a roof. Perhaps we could just go straight up from here. One thing I will say is that you are obviously able to publish the game early if you like to, and there's nothing stopping you publishing more than once ahead of time as well. So if you do have a concept together in the next few days, then I'd highly recommend getting it published and getting people to jump in and give it a play. Let people sort of give you feedback. The sooner you start to get feedback from people, the sooner you'll get to sort of really refine the game. It might be that you get to balance things. You'll find a lot of bugs, especially if you're working solo. It's a really good way to test a lot of perhaps multiplayer mechanics that you can't really test. So yeah, I'd highly recommend, the sooner the better. Get onto Discord, shout out, let people know you want some testing. Perhaps as a community, you could arrange to sort of test a bunch of games together at the same time. You know, we'll try and maybe use certain streams, maybe the play along next week, for example. We'll do some sort of testing sessions. So yeah, do make sure you stay tuned for those. There's back wall. Okay, I'm kind of liking this. This is a pretty good space so far. Apologies, 1 sec, I want to blow my nose. Yeah, thought I'd mute to save you all that. Having to listen to that. Airports nowadays can look pretty abstract. Look at LaGuardia and you'll see that's a fact. I like the angels and design so far. Oh, the angles. Sorry, the angels. The angles and the design so far. Keep up the good work and your game will go far. Very good. Even searching some sort of bonus points here. Is that what this is about? Over this, and then what I'll probably spend a little bit of time doing next is just making sure the camera is going to work. You know, it's a really important thing not to overlook when it comes to sort of designing your game, is to make sure that your player's camera is actually not going to interfere with things in the wrong way. You know, there's nothing worse than playing a game and the camera's being pulled around and pushed around, especially if you're doing something sort of fixed orbit mode. So I think as a space, this is okay. I think this is pretty good size. Let's have a look. Sorting out our player cam. So we're going to go for orbit. We're going to do a camera angle lock. So this is going to make sure that this is kind of a way to give yourself a fixed camera. One thing I will have to consider with this is sort of adjusting the way that players interact with things, because at the minute it'll be driven off kind of perhaps what you're looking at, whereas this angle will make sure, you know, you can't ever really change what you're looking at. So it's going to have to be trigger based or proximity based or something like that. The pitch -30. Let's see which angle that gives us, and we can tweak from there. The other thing I was going to do, and this is something a lot of people don't do, whether it's a hidden option or not, but if you're in a camera like this where the crosshair that you see in the middle of the screen isn't really relevant, because I'm never going to need to use that to sort of pinpoint something, because that's always going to be sat on my player, you should uncheck on the player, on the user, the show default crosshair, uncheck that, and that will get rid of that little crosshair in the middle of the screen, and it just sort of tidies the screen up a bit, you know, from a little bit of UI that isn't necessary. Crayta needs 1 or 2 new plane meshes, like a private jet. Yeah, that'd be pretty good actually, wouldn't it? I think there'd be a lot of use out of that sort of thing. We've got the blimps, but yeah, we've got the small planes. But yeah, I think in terms of like a private jet type thing, I might just have to put a bunch of those sort of small propeller planes over on the runway. Okay, so let's hit play. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so this is the angle. I think that's okay. Probably might go up a little bit. It's quite dark in here actually, isn't it? So we need to get some lighting in. Maybe a day-night cycle would work quite well actually here. I can try and do some fun stuff with sort of having it light up outside. Night, you can see the lights on the runway. Quite good. Go back to the player. So distance, let's go to 1,000. Enable camera collision. Yes, we want it to collide with things. One thing we can do, and I'm going to try and do here, so if you have got things in the world like meshes that you don't want the camera to collide with, it's one trick you can do. This only works with meshes, it doesn't work with voxels. But if you change the collision preset on the mesh to collide with the player only, and that means that the camera isn't going to collide with it. So let me just put it back to what it was, and I'll show you what could happen. I don't know if it's got the right angle for it, but if the mesh gets between the player and the camera, what you probably find is it's going to push right into the player. Okay, so here, this is what happens. So because this mesh is now going to sit between my player and my character, it's going to try and put the camera the other side of the mesh, and you end up with this effect. And we see quite a few games in Crayta where this is something that happens a lot, where the camera just gets pushed around. And it can make for a little bit of a jarring experience. It's sort of less than ideal. So what you can do to combat that is on certain meshes in the world where that could happen. If you change the collision, instead of colliding with everything, which includes the player's camera, if you say collide with the player only, go back, what you'll see is actually the player can now stand behind the mesh. Okay, and the camera's not going to clip. Now in this case it's fine because I'm not going to lose my player. I know exactly where I'm stood. I can still see them. So it's something to consider when you're building and working with a fixed camera, especially the orbit camera, which when it's not fixed and you can spin around, there could be a lot of meshes in the world. I mean, you start to have an experience as a player where the camera is getting pulled back and forth quite a lot. So really worth spending a little bit of time working on sort of making sure that it doesn't pull it around. I think these things are low enough that the raycast, I guess, from the camera to the player isn't being disturbed, so I wouldn't have to worry about altering these desks as they are. Okay, let's think about a bit of lighting. I have blocked. Do we do some sort of sunroof, like windows in the roof? I imagine airports are kind of fairly artificially lit, aren't they? Because essentially, they're big buildings that light's not always going to reach all the rooms. Where's my... Okay, so the sun's going to rise. Full reflection of the sunrise over there. Yeah, it might be cool to have some gaps in the top actually. In fact, I don't need to decorate it, do I? Because the player's never going to see up there. That's the way the camera's going to work. Okay, it's got the big strips of light, which works quite nicely. And I could do some lighting on here. So what lights can be. Again, it's probably not worth even putting a mesh on it. Again, from this sort of angle, I'm never going to see the roof. I might as well just place my lights. Do a big rectangle light. Probably good. That. Okay, so make these pretty long. Let's go for quite a long. Oh yeah, 12,500. I didn't mean to put that. Let's go for 5,000. Try. Trying to simulate the sort of like an artificial light side, maybe. Okay, really high attenuation, probably intensity. Okay, I'm gonna make this a template because I want one on the other side, and then I only ever really want to update one at a time, like kind of both. External lights. There would be lights up here. Clinical. But look, I need some sort of lights along them, which probably could come with them. Do lots of like nice planters and things in here, couldn't I? Any ideas as well? Let me know in chat. Anything that makes you think would be kind of really good to sell it as an airport space. Here, I feel like some neon would go quite well. Maybe like a neon bar across the back. Neon can be quite a nice way to just give like a little bit of, illumination without having to explicitly add more lights. There is a level of ambient light that spills out of them. Looks pretty cool. Imagining these will be pretty. And we can link a light to these. Yeah, let's template this, and again we can update them all at the same time then, which really helps. I appreciate that's not going to be very neat, but I think for now it's going to do. It's a sort of shortcut that helps just free up a bit of time. Not exactly going to be dead opposite each other. Probably want some, maybe add some more. Okay, let's have a little look at our day nights now. So it's 20-second day night cycle. We're looking play mode as well. Okay, it's looking cool. Yeah, I think these rectangle lights actually work quite nicely. Sort of fill that dark space. Kind of give that artificial light look. You could see the sunrise through the windows. Theirs doesn't look like it's changing. Okay, bit weird it wasn't working in preview. Let's try again. Voxel mesh in the shape of a plane, fly over the airport and cast a shadow in daylight. That'd be insane. A voxel mesh in the shape of a plane, fly over the airport and cast a shadow in daylight. That'd be. Yeah, I guess I could just use some of the plane meshes. Okay, weird. My daylight. Oh, never mind. Okay. So I might put my shop. So the shop's essentially going to be like a booth, I guess. So the way I'm imagining it is each tycoon, each player is essentially gathering tickets or getting kind of each type of passengers come in, you get a token, and then you're going to take that to the shop to sell the token. Get coins, then buy more gates to buy more sort of lanes that you can send the robots through. What I might do is style it in a way that there's like a door in the wall that each of the areas essentially has like where the robots go out, kind of out of the room, and that's when they've been sent on their June vacation. So I could start thinking about moving or making these bigger, couldn't I? So I want to do this even. Make them all the same. And that one. Okay. So that's okay. So let's make this fully square. So let's say something like 80 by 8. A touch bigger. 100 by 100. Yeah, let's do 100 by 100. Oh, okay, so that's all of those are freaking out now. Fine. Click to the floor. Okay. Right. So this is that's where my area's gone. So now I need to make the holes in the floor the same size. If we do the same exercise of filling the space, so we know we've got this center. Got now to 100 by 100. Want it up against this wall, because I say I kind of want that sort of ability to look like the robots are moving out of the scene. They I might have like linear, like rather than a desk staple shape, like if I just have lots of horizontal gates. Away from them. It doesn't really matter. I guess I need to make sure this players at the bottom don't get too cut off. There. These in. Okay, so that should be. I've done that. Tested. No, okay, I missed it. But okay, cool. So that's all shapes. Let's get our areas back up. Okay, there's one. Two. 3, and then the last one. Okay, cool. Right, that's our tycoon spaces. Let's see how this looks. Will games be penalised for not using the Neon Coast theme? No, I don't think. I don't think we've said, like, you know, you kind of absolutely have to use Neon Coast. I think it'd just be nice to sort of, you know, try and think of it. The theme kind of implies a pretty heavy Neon Coast theming, so it'd be nice to maybe work it in there, but I don't think it'll be marked down as such. I guess to some degree it's going to be hard to think of games in the Dream Vacation space that don't use it. Like, you know, this airport isn't necessarily Neon Coast, but I can fill it with a few Neon Coast assets and I can make kind of some holiday type things in it. Okay, right, what do I want now? I probably want to fill this middle space a bit, but I think a bit more about the actual gameplay, so make some concrete planters. Was a nice easy one to do. Probably stop this this day-night cycle. I only just noticed it was doing it. Think about what my shop's going to look like as well, because that could take all sorts of different shapes and sizes. They look alright. How's the world tree? Too bad. A bit of tidying up here. So, right, runway. Probably make the runway much and wider. So we actually see it. If anyone knows of any good sort of packages that I could use to perhaps start to populate a runway with. I know we've got our plane. The plane. And a little bit more. We kind of need a great big. Anyone fancies making like a 747 Airbus Max, huge plane? That'd be pretty handy. Oh God, tower, that's worse. Wonder if it was placed practically, could it be made to look bigger? I mean, that doesn't look too bad actually. (747), how much time have we got? I got 2 weeks. Oh, that was a bigger gap. That. I'm going to basically use these as my lights. My intention. Oh wait, no. Anyone know offhand what this music is called? No. I'm pretty sure all the music I play on the stream in the playlist is stuff that you can find in the editor. So I don't think any of it is I don't think any of it's unavailable to you. Seven Day says it's Magic Castle music. Probably one of these ones. Mystery music maybe. Explore music. Not too sure. Oh, they kind of work as lights. Get behind that. Need to sort of do something at the bottom end, but rather than having lots of primitive lights, having those as just little voxel neon lights out there. Control tower kind of works as well. I need to do some lights on it. Cool. Yeah, I'll take that as a runway. That looks pretty cool actually. Especially at night. And then in the day, I'm sure it'll look fine. Perhaps we could, certainly more we could add. But, or maybe I'll just keep it as a nighttime. Nighttime game. Everyone goes on holiday at night, right? No one really goes away during the day. Oh, more decoration. And some fake doors here. I believe. Why are these lights there? These ones didn't seem to go where they should have done. They've just rotated into place. Cool. Okay, let's start thinking about a little bit about gameplay then. Maybe you could add some city blocks in the distance to add a skyline. Oh, that's a good idea. I just said I was going to do gameplay, but I might do that first. Got this building. I use quite a lot. Maybe use a neon. Might clash a bit. Neon city. But let's install the Neon City nightclub. Let's see if we can fit that in. I'm just going to be shadows. They do actually add, yeah, they added a little bit of visual, don't they? Which is good. Hovering games in the background. That looks pretty cool, yeah. Look at that. Rid of this. To these, well, there is another skyscraper. This one. A light. Don't quite see it from. Add a little bit more interest outside. Maybe I'll just lower the buildings. I don't want to catch that red and stuff a bit more. Although seeing that in the reflection's pretty. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. Hi Alex, what is the theme this time? Theme right there on the screen, it's Dream Vacation. So what I'm currently working on is a bit of an airport tycoon game, which will be sort of sending people off to their dream vacations. Okay, so let's have a think about the actual area itself. So I'm gonna have like I guess the ones on the right will need to be span round. I need to kind of make sure that they kind of have symmetry to them if I want them to exit on the other side. Essentially, they're all the same template, so I need to think about that. Let's put username. I think needs to be up on a sign, maybe. I think that would be quite a good way of seeing your. Yeah. So what have we got? That. Much more than I thought it was. Perhaps do a voxel based thing. Although again, as I kind of need to make things symmetrical. I probably want something like this. The name on either side of. Probably not neon green. Go for something a bit easier to see. That's what I was looking for earlier, the smooth metal. Okay, so in theory, as I say, these two are going to end up fan. So this left edge of this one matches what here will do. So just Y position. Instant. Okay, see how that looks. Is the itch page coming tomorrow? I think it should be published now. If not, we'll make sure that goes out on Discord before the end of the stream. I can jump on and get that link to you shortly. Okay. Much lower. make it look like a screen actually, couldn't I? That might be good. What I probably want to do is turn collision off on that. Might leave it for now. Yeah, I could make it more screen-like. That might be pretty good. Let's sort the spawn area out. So where do I spawn it? Back to the edge. We should spawn at the far end to see our whole areas. And move on. Box on the left. Space them out properly in a minute. Let's just get them roughly where they should be. So as I say, I kind of want my system to be like you buying lanes that sort of open up to get across. Get more robots through and therefore more tickets. Really want. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's worked. So all these are on the left, all those on the left, and then these ones on the right because I span the area around manually just to the sign. So let's have a look. Apologies about the sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. So let's see about having a look at what our areas look like. So each of these things spawns a buyable. So let's look at what that buyable looks like. That's our desk. Okay. So firstly, let's think about. I might turn this into the baggage gate thing. The metal detector. That's it. That straight away looks like the sort of thing we want them to be. All facing the wrong direction. Oh, I need to manually move the spawns. Okay, and we need also rotate. One, two, three, four, five, 10 between. tedious work, but it has to be done. Maybe 10 closer. That's 10, yeah, maybe space them a touch. See if we get the right direction at least this time. Yeah, and so there we see the camera's doing that clip, so we don't really want that to happen. And we are getting a... So they're the wrong way round. Okay, so we need to spin all of them round the other way. And probably space them out a bit as well. Maybe that was too far. So what? Lazy approach. And I'm all tripped up. That's 5. That's okay. 6 goes there. 7 goes there. And let's delete 8. It's a 7-gate operation. See how that looks now. KD, can I make 2 games? I don't see why not. Probably best sticking to 1 submission and spending the time to make the 1 submission as best as it can be. But I don't think there's anything against multiple submissions. Right, okay, so buyable. Do that trick again, so we'll make only climb the play, and that should stop the camera pulling in when I go near it. Now, quite handy actually, because I know which direction it faces because of this light. So this is the direction of the stuff. So we probably want things like a baggage scanner to be part of this. Maybe do that here. Use the conveyor belts, might look pretty good. What else could we do? Oh wait, no, this is the buyable one, isn't it? Right, so this is no, right. This is where I made a mistake. So actually, I don't want to update this one. So this is the state it's in when it's buyable. I'll probably want to make sure this are visible from that sort of fixed camera. And now we'll do that. So it's the updatable. Icon updatable. So this is the thing that is actually determining your progress. So probably go for the same mesh here. So the metal detector. Alright, I'll update this to do that. Okay, so my computer I'm going to move. I think I'm going to put that on like a desk over here somewhere. I'm going to have the baggage scanner as well. Sorry, the baggage. Yeah, baggage scanner. Some sort of like terminal called from the space pack. Maybe an office desk. And a conveyor belt to go in the middle. Okay, let's have a look at how our game's looking. Oh, okay, so I can spawn over here. I need to work out a better way to see the sign. I'm going to buy this desk. Cool. So this is all going to be... This is where the symmetry is going to be tricky. It's going to get quite tight as well. Okay, cool. Let's get in there. I think there's the ideas there. There's a few more things I'd like to do. Perhaps, you know, start to layer in a few more gameplay mechanics, things like that. Let's just look at a few things. I'm probably going to wrap up shortly. I wonder if doing some trick with this being the UI. If I make the UI green facing, it doesn't really matter, does it? That's going to be a good trick. Try that. Then just find out a good way. I guess what I could do actually, if I spawn a updatable. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That gives me exactly a hole in the wall that I need. Be a long process. I wanted to do this one, and I'll do update the rest another time. Have a good guess, actually, couldn't I? Gap between. How this looks. Cool. Okay, yeah, that seems to work. And yeah, actually having the UI like that, I think, solves a lot of headaches. It's much brighter in here than it should be. I guess I've got my world settings messed up still. Ah, that could be a problem. Guess I can climb out. What I might do is, there's a lot of space over here with nothing, so I might try and use this space here for some other sort of tycoon things to, like some other things to buy that generate money. The gates can earn you a certain amount, but then the other ones can also earn you some as well. And then the good thing with tycoons to always think about is to really add stuff to keep players involved. So things like in Canyon Miners, you've got the repeating pumpkin patch, the mega factory simulator, there's the mystery boxes. I'll think about maybe adding some like daily collectible stuff in here. So there's a whole lot of stuff I can add to this to really start to flesh it out. But I'll probably leave that there. I'm quite pleased with that progress. Just want to quickly, go back to how the game should look. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's been what, about an hour and a half of progress on the game, and I feel like, you know, I've done quite a bit towards what I'd want to do. So I've got an airport here, got a little bit of style to it, it's got a bit of decoration, and I've started to update my logic to work in the way that I want it to. So I kind of start to refine that a bit more and add more layers to it. But you know, fundamentally what I've got here is a a start to a working game. No shoes, no shirt, no service. Yeah, it's a little bit kind of keen for my holiday, I guess, running around in my swimming shorts. But cool. Okay, as I say, we have 2 whole weeks, so if we can achieve this sort of thing within an hour and a half, then imagine what you can do in 2 weeks. So I'm really excited to see the sorts of games that we see from people in the end. So thank you everybody for tuning in. As I say, it's been pretty fun, relaxed way to spend the evening, just doing some building to the next big Crayta Game Jam. So it is live now. The theme is Dream Vacation. I can't wait to see how people interpret that for their entry. We'll get the itch page sorted out. We'll get the links available on Discord, and we'll be sharing that throughout various streams over the next couple of weeks. So do make sure you head over to Discord if you haven't already. It's discord.gg/Crayta. As I say, I always say it, but it's a really great place to keep up with the community as well as the devs. We do a lot of chatting over there. But it's, all the help you could need, especially around the game jam. So do make sure you go ahead and do that. You can follow us on Twitch and you can subscribe to us on YouTube to keep up with all the video content that we do, especially the live stream. And then obviously you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Crayta Game on both of those platforms. So that's a really good way to keep up with sort of the news that goes on. We have sort of little competitions here and there, sharing things like the comic, for example. All sorts of stuff happens on those platforms. Do make sure you tune in tomorrow when AJ is back with another play along. They're going to be focusing on new and updated games. So we've kind of done a few streams now on a Wednesday where it's been kind of themed. We've had Halloween, things like that. So we're going to go back to a bit of an old school new and updated. So if you have got a game that you've updated recently that you'd like them to play on the stream, then do head over to Discord and let them know ahead of time, and they'll see about adding that to the plan. So thank you everybody for joining in. I say it's been a pretty good fun stream, and good luck for the next 2 weeks. If you do have any questions, Discord is the place to ask, and we will be back tomorrow for another live stream. So we'll see you tomorrow.